Let's look at a retirement plan specially designed for the investors who are looking out for the monthly inflows right from day one. So what are the objective of these investors, right? The first objective is that they're looking for the regular monthly inflows, and that should be beating the inflation, right? That's the first objective that they have. The second objective is that they want to maintain the same lifestyle throughout. So they have built up certain lifestyle and they want to maintain the same lifestyle throughout the retired life. The third objective is that the overall corpus should be intact or it should grow. The total investment today, the principal amount should at least grow or remain intact. That's the third objective. Fourth is, this is the hard-earned money. If they want to enjoy in between for any purpose or they require for emergency, it should be made available to them. That's the fourth objective. And it should be tax efficient. These are only 5 simple objectives every retired person could have, right? So currently, where are they making investments? The common investments getting into the bank fixed deposits, primarily to bank fixed deposits, right? So what are the current pain points these investors have today, right? So if you look at the first pain point, the bank FD returns are typically lower than the inflation. So today, if you look at the post-tax returns of bank fixed deposit, about less than 4%, much lower than the inflation. That's the first pain point. The falling interest rate. So today, if you have booked a FD about 6% or 6.5%, even for the senior citizen, for 3 years or 5 years, there is a reinvestment risk, which means after 3 years or 5 years, you may get a FD about 5%, 4.5%. That's the second pain point, right? So your next FD would be much lower rate. Third is risk of losing your principal amount should you withdraw a higher amount going forward due to inflation. So today you are withdrawing X amount, and due to inflation, you may have to withdraw higher amount, maybe 5 years or 10 years down the line. At some point in time, you may have to break your principal amount. That's the third pain point. The fourth is, if you have to withdraw a lump sum amount for any emergencies, there is a liquidity problem, right? So once you withdraw that amount, it will have to compromise your monthly inflows from next month onwards, right? That's the fourth pain point. And finally, it has been taxed at marginal rate. So these are 5 pain points basically those who are investing to bank fixed deposit for this purpose currently have, right? So what is the option for this? So what is our solution, right? So let's look at what are the investment avenues and withdrawal mechanism for these particular investors. So let's first look at where we make investments. So it's a combination of 3 products, right? And every product has a role to play. Let's look at each of them. So what we're offering them, the first product is the short-term funds and debt funds. Now, what is the role of this particular product is to offer the stability and give them a cash flow with immediate effect without any risk of capital. That's the role of this first product, which is short-term funds and debt funds. The second product is the market-in debentures. What do? They offer you higher, more than double returns with a very high probability, and overall your returns probability will go up with the second product without losing capital. Third is equity mutual funds. That's the product which creates a significant wealth in a longer period of time. That's the role of the third product. And we'll see in the next slide how it works for the investor, right? So these are 3 product combination which we can offer to the client, and they will offer and they'll achieve the objective of this investor. Let's look at the withdrawal mechanism. So there are 2 types of withdrawals which you're offering here to the client. The first one is the systematic withdrawal plan. Now every client can decide what is the amount that he wants per month, right? So let's say decide 50,000, 70,000. So he can decide the amount, and everyone on a particular date, he will be getting that amount in his bank account. And this is flexible. He can increase, he can decrease that amount in any month, right? And the second withdrawal is the lump sum withdrawal should he require that money for any kind of emergencies. So 2 types of withdrawals mechanism that can be designed for these investors, right? So we have seen the combination of 3 products through which we can build a portfolio which will deliver returns with a high degree of probability, and he can also get withdrawal per month, right? So let's take an example and let's see how this sample plan work for any investor. So this is example of an investor having 1 crore retirement corpus. His requirement is about 50,000 per month from day one. And this may go up by 7% per annum due to inflation. So, which means today he's withdrawing 50,000 rupees. End of 1 year, he'll be withdrawing 50,000 plus 7%, and so on and so forth for next 20 years or 25 years. That is requirement, right? Now, let's look at the product which I spoke about, how they will help him to achieve this objective. So, the first product, which is short-term debt funds. So, about 19% of his investments out of 1 crore will get into these particular funds. Now, how much will they offer him? About 4% post-tax returns. right? And since they get into a short-term debt funds, very, very safe investments, and that will help him to withdraw about 50,000 rupees and additional 7% in the second year and additional 7% in the third year. So the first 3 year withdrawals will happen from this 19% of the investment of total purpose. The second fund is a debt fund. So about 14% will get invested into a debt funds. How much will they offer him? About 6% post-tax returns. And what will help him to get is about 4th year and 5th year withdrawal. So that 50,000 additional investment from day one, and then additional 7%. 4th year, 5th year withdrawal will happen from this kitty of debt fund, which about 14% into this fund, right? The third product, which is the market-linked debentures, will invest about 20% into this product, and for 5 years on day one. So what will happen? In 5 years, these products are designed to give about 14.4%, which means 20 lakh can become 40 lakhs in 5 years time. But this is pre-tax. So if you consider 20% tax on that, the post-tax returns will be about 11.6%. So this 20 lakh will become essentially 34.6 lakhs. So from the 5th year onwards, we can actually use this kitty of 34 lakhs to withdraw his requirement from 5th year to 9th year. So his first 9 years will get withdrawn from short-term debt funds, then the debt funds, and then the market-linked debentures, which will grow his market-linked debentures will grow his investment with about 85% probability, the double with 85% probability, which means the first 9 year withdrawal is happening with almost 95% probability, right? Finally, the equity funds, which we're investing about 47%, the larger chunk gets invested into 47%. Why? Because these are the funds which will create a wealth for him in longer period of time, right? But as we all know, during a shorter period of time, market is volatile and it affects the volatility affects the returns, and hence we are allowing this 47% of the investment to equity funds to grow at a rate of 14% pre-tax or maybe 12% post-tax. Secondly, we are also eliminating the initial volatility in the equity funds, because we are touching these funds only in the 10th year. So from 10th year onwards, for the next 10 years or 11 years or whatever number of years, the money will get withdrawn from the equity funds, which means we are only withdrawing money from equity funds in 10th year onwards, allowing equity funds to grow in the first 9 years. So that's the plan, that's the combination of 3 products which will help him to achieve his objective. So let's see what happens end of 20 years, the snapshot for 20 years. So the initial investments of 1 crore, right? The monthly payout which we are doing for 20 years, which is starting with 50,000 and then additional 7% every year. Total, how much is he withdrawing? He is withdrawing about 2 crore 45 lakhs in 20 years. 1 crore initial investments, total withdrawal about 2 crore 45 lakhs in 20 years. The investment value, the original investment value will still grow to 2 crore 3 lakhs after withdrawing 2 crore 45 lakhs. So that 1 crore investments after withdrawal of 2 crore 45 lakhs in 20 years time on per month basis, that amount is getting more than double, 2 crore 3 lakhs. And just for your information, you want to understand that 7%, 50,000 investments in the withdrawal in the first year, 7% per annum. In the 20th year, he's actually withdrawing 1,81,000. That 7% growth every year, that 50,000 has become 1,81,000. So that's the plan. 1 crore will get double after withdrawing even 2 crore 45 lakhs. And look at the IRR for 20 years. It's almost 12%, 11.6%. Isn't it double than the bank fixed deposit, right? So let's see now the pain points that we've seen earlier. Are we addressing those pain points? The first pain point which we saw is that bank FD returns are much lower than fixed deposit. We are now seeing the returns which are getting from this plan is actually more than double than the bank fixed deposit. The falling interest rates, we've seen that this smart combination of 3 products, which actually helping you to get returns, not only the principal amount which you get and withdrawing from that, but the principal amount getting doubled. That's the second benefit that we can get. The risk of losing principal amount, that is also not possible. As I mentioned, that you can go on withdrawing amount of 50,000 or additional 7% per annum. Still, you don't have to break your fixed the principal amount. That's the third pain point which can be addressed with this particular option. The fourth is liquidity at the cost of compromised monthly inflows. I mean, should you want to withdraw for any uncertainties, I mean, you can withdraw at any point of time. You don't have to break your original principal amount. That can be addressed with this because the portfolio is very liquid. And finally, this is the most tax efficient portfolio. We invest into the liquid funds, debt funds, equity mutual funds. All are tax efficient. Even marketed debentures are only 20% tax after 3 years period. So it is taking care of all the pain point that we've seen earlier. So should you have any requirement, yourself or your family member, contact ARWell partner. Will be able to help you and design a tailor-made plan for you. So as I mentioned, this is just an example which I shared with you. This can be tailor-made for as per your requirement. You can choose your principal amount, you can choose your withdrawal every month, you can choose the inflation, that is your gut feeling on 7%, 8%, 6%, and basis which you can actually tailor-made plan for you.